everybody. It looks like it's time for a little Sleepytime review here. So gather around, get some cocoa, maybe some tea, get cozy, let's talk about some movies. When Alien first hit the theaters in 1979, critics and audiences received it in a very different way than they look at it today. Reviews from critics emerged saying Alien was an annoying film or a botched job. While today you can find people hailing Alien as a masterpiece, and that is for good reason, because even looking at the movie with the most cynical of views, it is still a fantastic movie with very few plot holes, and even fewer if you take the comics, novels, and other canon media into account. Even after countless repeat viewings, I find myself going back and watching it over every once in a while, sometimes more than once in the same week, and I'll notice things that I hadn't noticed in any of my previous viewings. Whether it's the subtle facial expressions that characters give that make you feel that the situations they are in are more than just prepared scenes being recited from a script, or even the body language portraying the emotions that the characters are feeling just a little too well. I can talk for hours about the history of this movie, the multiple revisions the script has had, or the countless designs for the xenomorph, but today I just want to focus on some of the positives and negatives of this film. Starting off strong, the movie throws you into a cramped yet cozy setting aboard the Nostromo, giving the audience a very good sense of just how claustrophobic this movie can feel in just the first 5 minutes. We're introduced to the characters and their personalities one by one, with very little obvious exposition. Ripley's hard-focused and by-the-numbers attitude, Lambert's frustration under pressure, Dallas's laid-back yet knowledgeable demeanor, Brett and Parker are just there for the money, and Kane doesn't really worry too much about any of the other problems that his other crewmates may perceive. And for about 45 minutes, not much really happens, and to some viewers it may feel like a negative, which I won't dispute. Of everyone that I've shown this movie, most of them have started to lose interest about 20 or 30 minutes in, and I don't blame them. Maybe the heavy nostalgia, but that first third of the movie is very interesting to me. It sets the tone and atmosphere while also letting you settle in to prepare for the coming events. Calm before the storm, if you will. And this may have been to ease the audiences into the vast emptiness and hard science fiction setting that the movie relies on so heavily to build the terror and suspense of the following hour and 45 minutes, and the feelings of not being able to simply run away from the threat that most horror movies have portrayed before it. But once the alien is on board, there never seems to be a moment of ease, as each of the crew is picked off one by one, until just Ripley is remaining. Some viewers do have a problem with how the crew acts in certain situations, and there are some pretty bad decisions being made by the crew. Dallas going down into the air vents to flush the alien out, while they could just wait all together with the flamethrower for the alien to come after them. Lambert refusing to move out of fear when the alien is approaching her, while Parker waits on the sidelines for her to move out of the way so he can use the flamethrower to scare or even kill the xenomorph. But one could argue that in these situations, those would seem like the best options, even though it does eventually get most of the crew killed. And at this point we are in the final act of the movie, and it is very well established that Ripley is one of the strongest female leads in any movie up to this point. And once Ripley does dispose of the xenomorph on board the Narcissus escape pod, she can finally rest knowing that the nightmare is over. At the end of the day, Alien is still one of the best science fiction horror movies out there, and it is one of my favorite movies of all time, possibly my single favorite movie. Now my biases and nostalgia may get the better of me when writing this, but I am going to give this movie a 7 out of 8 hours of good sleepy time. Thank you so much for joining me, and stay tuned for another Sleepy Time review. I'm De Bruin. Have a good night.